Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Las Vegas. It is wonderful to be together, both virtually and in person. My name is Elaine, your worship associate today, and I use she, her pronouns. Our worship leader is Donna, who also uses she, her pronouns. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever you believe about life's journey, you are welcome here. We broadcast a video feed for our virtual attendees. If you wish to not be recorded, please sit toward the back or the sides of the sanctuary. Today, during Of Our Hearts, we will read the name of anyone written in the book or in the chat. When we come together, we get to practice creating inclusive, worshipful spaces together. Please move in ways that your body needs. It's okay if you need to wiggle, stand up, sleep, or fidget. All bodies are welcome here. Welcome to our service. Before we ring the bell, please take a moment to greet all present who make this space sacred. You can say good morning, hello, wave, or just acknowledge each other's presence. Hello, Donna.
Good morning. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Las Vegas is situated on the traditional homelands of the Nuwuvi Southern Paiute people. We are grateful for the land itself, for those who have stewarded it for generations, and for the opportunity to worship, learn, work, grow, and be in community with this land and her peoples. We encourage everyone present to engage in continued learning about the indigenous peoples who work and live on this land since time immemorial, including the Las Vegas Paiute tribe and the Moapa Band of Paiutes, and about the historical and present realities of colonialism. It is important to recognize and appreciate the use of Southern Paiute land as part of our mission to be a welcoming and inclusive place of worship, spiritual enrichment, and exploration within the community.
When we gather together, we light the chalice, a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. The chalice reminds us that we are connected to a much larger religious tradition that stretches out of the past, reaches around the world, and leans into our shared future. And join with me. We light the chalice as a reminder that together we are a beacon in the desert. May its light lead the way to love, acceptance, and justice as we strive for personal and societal transformation.
I'd like to begin with a quote from the Buddhist scripture, and I hope I don't butcher this. Thank you. Itivuttaka. It's number 26. If beings knew, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given, nor would the stain of selfishness ever overcome their minds. Even if it were their last bite, their last mouthful, they would not eat without having shared, if there were someone to receive their gift. Mindfulness and generosity. What's the connection? What makes the difference between giving and holding back? It turns out generosity is a skill we can develop, and hard times play a big role. The science of generosity is that the more adversity someone's experienced, the more compassion they feel, and the more generous they'll likely be. We're reminded of this every time we see someone who may look somewhat destitute drop a few coins into a panhandler's cup, while the commuter in designer clothes rushes past. A person who knows what it is to suffer also knows how outside forces can land one in deep poverty through little fault of their own, and how wonderful it can be to have a simple dollar for a McDonald's coffee. Today we will delve into what it means to walk a path of reciprocity. For now, please rise in body or spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Our song leader today is Margaret.
We will be singing the first 3 verses.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
We will now ground ourselves in the present and honor the thread of humanity that connects us as living beings. If you have someone you would like held up, please add their name to the chat. As humans striving toward a beloved community, we have the privilege and responsibility to hold on to each other as we live the joys and sorrows of life. We take this sacred time to acknowledge the people who we hold in our hearts, that in sharing our triumph and joy may be multiplied, and our pain and sorrow may lessen their sting. After we have a brief visualization, we will partake in a common UU ritual of marking our joys and sorrows by lighting a candle. The candle signifies a lightness of burden on your heart. The fire represents the love and strength of our community to surround, support, and celebrate you. There is also a small bowl of lightly scented eucalyptus oil if you would like to anoint yourself to seal this practice. If you would like to participate, simply come forward after the visualization. All are welcome. So settle in your seats and just close your eyes. Generosity lives in your actions. The loving energy of giving shines through your eyes and your hands. So let's begin. Slow down your breathing and let your mind clear, and release any tension inside. Now see if you can imagine what generosity looks like to you right now. Imagine yourself being generous to others. Imagine others being generous to you. And just be here with these visions for a second, simply observing generosity in action. Now feel a smile spread across your face as you sit in the good feelings of generosity. What does generosity in action look like for you today? And now everyone who would like to light a candle. Please line up in the center. Thank you. Today, we hold up Arabelle Tetlow, who has finished her cancer treatment of 2.5 years. Dan Tosick, Alicia, and Clay Brown. Irma, is there anyone in the chat?
Yes. We have Kelly's brother Kyle and Claudia Hall.
Okay. May we hold all that was spoken and all that is kept in the silence of our hearts in love and compassion. And now, slightly out of order, we will have Rory's story.
Good morning, everyone. So, I want to tell you a story. We're talking about reciprocity and generosity today. And this story could be in any time or place, but it is a story about a greedy, rich man. We all love those, don't we? We love to hate them, at least. So this greedy, rich man, he hired himself a mathematician because he wanted to get the most wealth, the most profit, and he knew that the mathematician could find the magic formula. And so he hired this mathematician. He said, please find the magic formula so I can build a safe and I can fill it with gold and jewels and coins and have all the wealth and profit. And so the mathematician went away and he was locked in his study for months. And he finally thought, yes, I have the formula. And then, no, that's not quite right. And eventually he said, I have figured it out. And he came to the greedy rich man and he said, I have figured it out. I know how to get you all of the wealth and jewels and everything that you would love and all the best profits in the world. And the greedy rich man was actually on his way out on a business trip for several months. And he said, I don't have time to put these formulas into practice, but I will pay you double if you put these formulas into practice and guard my wealth for me while I'm gone. And so off he went on his business venture, and several months later, he returned. And when he returned, he found nothing. His wealth had disappeared. Not one coin in his safe, not one jewel on his table, and he turned to the mathematician furiously. And he said, what have you done? And the mathematician said, well, I gave it all away. And he said, what? Why would you give away my wealth and my profits and my jewels? And he said, well, I have realized that there is only so much that one can do. There is a limit to what one person can have and hold. And the greedy rich man he didn't understand. He was like, how can this be? And furiously, he ran out of the house, huffing and puffing. And as he walked along, his neighbors came out one by one, worried about him because he looked so distraught. Because while he had been gone, the mathematician had given away his wealth to all of these neighbors. And they, in return, were so thankful and so overjoyed that they had had a share in this wealth and that they had had their problems solved, that they came to care for the greedy rich man. And they changed his heart. They brought him into their houses, they fed him, they shared what they had, and then some. And he realized that in this way of sharing, in having set up this business where his mathematician had given away all of these profits, that he was gaining so much more in the community and the love and the sharing from other people. And so he changed his business model, right, to follow what the mathematician's formula had set up. And he made ways to accumulate wealth, but he always, from that point on, shared it with those around him. Thank you.
Now, rise in body or spirit to sing our pastoral hymn, Let Nothing Evil Cross This Door. It's in the Living Tradition, number 1.
softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine, till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter down the raucous shout, but though they've sheltered walls are thin, may they be strong to keep a doubt and hold the lid.
These are the words of Peggy Sanger Parsons. Here are some things I have found to be true about giving. It does not matter how much you have or how much you give. If you have 10 dimes, you can part with one. It is good for you to part with one. It is especially important to give when you don't feel like it. When it seems risky, it changes you, and you change your world. There is no magic here except this. When you give away some of your stuff, you are freed from the slavery to stuff. You place your bet on the kindness of the universe. You trust. And that changes you and frees you from the terrible lie that says there is not enough to go around. We gather as a religious community to give each one of us a place where we can do the work of many. The offering supports the mission of the congregation to be a beacon of love and justice in the desert, and supports local organizations working to make our community a better place for all. Offering this month is shared with Nevadans for the Common Good. This organization is made up of member churches, synagogues, mosques, nonprofits, and other community institutions who build relational power for collective action in the pursuit of justice and the common good. UUCLV is a member of Nevadans for the Common Good. This offering is a spiritual practice of generosity that this congregation does as a whole each week. Please join us as a member or friend in this practice. The link to donate your offering will be in the chat on Zoom, and our ushers will pass plates where you can donate. And now please join me. With gratitude for the abundance in our own lives, we give for the life of this congregation and for the benefit of the larger community.
Thank you, everyone, for your generous treasure donations.
It's gift box time. Lana, you gonna help me out? Okay, so you guys like to guess, right? Yeah, come on down. That's okay. What do you think might be in there?
Sounds like
Little pieces of something.
I don't know.
Nothing? All right, I'm going to sit down. Come on over. Okay. What is that?
Puzzle.
Money? Puzzles. Puzzle pieces. We have puzzle pieces today. Puzzle pieces work because if we think of the pieces like hands, right? There's one piece that's outstretched and another person who needs a hand outstretched. And so they fit together, right? What happens when all the pieces come together? When all the pieces that are outstretched meet the piece that needs the outstretched hand? What happens when they all come together? It makes a picture. Is the picture bigger than the pieces? Is it a whole thing? It's bigger than the pieces. When you guys put together a puzzle, do you always know what it's going to look like when you first start? Never? No. Sometimes we get a hint, right? Sometimes we get a hint if there's a picture on the box, but we still don't know until we put it all together. So the reason I picked this for reciprocity, which is a big word, we talked about that in my anthropology classes in college. Reciprocity just means we give and we receive to each other, right? We help each other out. When I need something, I have a little hole in my puzzle piece, and I need a helping hand. When I have extra, when I have stuff to give, then I can give to the person who needs a helping hand. And then together, all of us in the community, we form a bigger picture, right? If we all come together and help each other out, we form a big picture that we didn't even see before. Or we could be lonely little pieces just trying to do it on our own. Would that make a picture? It'd kind of be a sad picture, huh? Do you guys want to play with the puzzle? Maybe? Yeah? All right. These are kind of big pieces, so it's not as hard as a little piece. Okay, come on over. You can pour it out and play with it if you want. You don't have to. All right.
Today's service has been influenced by, almost exclusively, the book Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. I always say it wrong. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And I just wanted to let everybody know that. In this season of harvest, baskets are full, rounded with fragrant apples and heaped with winter squash. So too are the steel shopping carts that clatter across the parking lot, plastic bags whipping in the wind. How do we even name such abundance? Are these commodities, natural resources, ecosystem services? The indigenous worldview is to call them gifts. We are showered every day with the gifts of the earth: air to breathe, fresh water, the companionship of geese and maples, and food. Since we lack the gift of photosynthesis, we animals are destined by biology to be utterly dependent upon the lives of others, the inherently generous, more than human persons to whom we share the planet. If we understand the earth as just a collection of objects, then apples and the land that offers them fall outside our circle of moral consideration. We tell ourselves that we can use them however we please, because their lives don't matter. But in a worldview that understands them as people, their lives matter very much. Recognition of personhood does not mean that we don't consume, but that we are accountable for the lives that we take. When we speak of the living world as kin, we also are called to act in new ways, so that when we take those lives, we do it in such a way that brings honor to the life that is taken and honor to the ones receiving it. The canon of indigenous principles that govern the exchange of life for life is known as the honorable harvest. They are rules of sorts that govern our taking so that the world is as rich for the seventh generation as it is for us. Though we live in a world made of gifts, we find ourselves harnessed to institutions and an economy that relentlessly asks, what more can we take from the earth? For balance to occur, we cannot keep taking without replenishing. Don't we need to ask, what can we give? The honorable harvest is a covenant of reciprocity between humans and the land. It is more than a quaint prescription of how to pick berries. It is the root of a sophisticated ethical protocol that could guide us in a time when unbridled exploitation threatens the life that surrounds us. Western economies and institutions enmesh us in a profoundly dishonorable harvest. Collectively, by assent or by inaction, we have chosen the policies we live by. We can choose again. What if the honorable harvest were the law of the land, and humans, not just plants and animals, fulfilled the purpose of supporting the lives of others? What would the world look like if a developer poised to convert a meadow into a shopping mall had first to ask permission of the meadowlarks and the goldenrod and abide by their answer? What if we fill our shopping baskets with only that which is needed and give something back in return? If the best way of interacting with the natural world is through a lens of reciprocity, and this is best exhibited through the way one thinks about gifts, gratitude for those gifts, and the responsibilities and relationships that accompany the giving and receiving of gifts. The earth gifts people with food, shelter, and beauty, and each individual being offers its own gifts as part of this. Our gifts to give as human beings includes offering gratitude and the ability to take responsibility for the care of all the other beings who are so generous to us. This makes the web of reciprocity not just about equal exchange of commodities, but about a relationship of generosity and gratitude. In Braiding Sweetgrass, Kimmerer tells a story of the gift of the strawberries and describes how picking wild strawberries in her childhood instilled her with the idea of the world as a generous place. She thinks of the strawberries as being like personal gifts given to the land itself. She then compares this gift economy to the market economy of capitalism, which requires the idea of constant scarcity and attempts to make everything into a sellable commodity. Seeing something as a gift rather than a commodity changes one's worldview, as gifts create a relationship between the giver and the receiver, the kind of relationship that she believes people should have with the land. To carry a gift is to carry a responsibility to give back and to pass on one's own gifts, which itself creates the web of reciprocity and is essential to a healthy community. These ideas are also distilled in the traditional Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address, which lists all the beings and gifts of the world and gives thanks for them. The address not only presents the world as a place of plenty, but also makes us take stock of all these gifts and consider our responsibilities to them. At many ceremonies, berries are passed around in one large bowl with one spoon, so that everyone can taste the sweetness, remember the gifts, and say thank you. The bowl does have a bottom, though, So it's important that everyone saves some berries for their neighbors. In the same way, the gifts of the earth are to be shared, but gifts are not limitless. The generosity of the earth is not an invitation to take all. How might we refill the bowl once it is empty? Gratitude alone is not enough. We should learn from berries that all flourishing is mutual. We need the berries, and the berries need us. Their gifts multiply by our care for them and dwindle from our neglect. We are bound in a covenant of reciprocity, a pact of mutual responsibility to sustain those who sustain us. And so the empty bowl is filled. Unfortunately, people have abandoned the wisdom of berries, treating the earth's gifts like our own property to be exploited, acting as if the earth were not a bowl of berries, but an open pit, and the spoon a gouging shovel. If we treated a generous person in the same way we treated the earth, by flaunting their kindness and stealing all of their possessions, it would be a moral outrage. The earth gifts us with energy sources like sunlight, wind, and water, but in our greed we have broken the planet's surface to dig for fossil fuels. We are all bound by a covenant of reciprocity. Plant for breath, for animal breath, winter and summer, predator and prey, grass and fire, night and day, living and dying. Kimmerer closes the book by imagining a future in which human beings recognize, just in time, Mother Earth's gifts and give her our own gifts in return. More than anything, she says, I want to hear a great song of thanks rise on the wind. I think that song might save us. And then she imagines the drums beginning and everyone dancing, celebrating the earth's gifts together. This moral covenant of reciprocity calls us to honor our responsibilities for all we have been given, for all we have taken. It is now time for us to hold a giveaway for Mother Earth, to spread our blankets out for her and pile them high with gifts of our own making, like art, writing, machinery, and acts of kindness. Whatever our gifts, we are called to give it and to dance for the renewal of the world, in return for the privilege of breath. I hope that the honorable harvest will make a comeback in our culture because it is sorely needed. We need to restore our relationship to the land and not be ashamed of our existence on this planet. I, like Kimmerer, consume groceries from the store like everyone else, and I realize that city people have little chance for meaningful interaction with the land. But they can at least choose what they support by what they spend their money on. In capitalism, we can use dollars as indirect currency of reciprocity. It is difficult to blame only the coal companies for ecological collapse when we are buying what they sell. We have created a culture and economy with no place for the honorable harvest, one that pretends that everything is a lifeless commodity to be taken and used without consequence. As people, we are all heterotrophs and must therefore consume other living things to survive, be that animal or plant. This fact leads to the moral question, how do we consume in a way that does justice to the lives that we take? In our current worldview, we usually choose what gets us to the desired result in the fastest and least expensive way. However, not everything should be convenient. And now, if everyone can stand in heart or mind, as we will sing Love Will Guide Us. It's in the Living Tradition Songbook, number 131.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love
The honorable harvest is not written down, but if it were, it would look something like this. Ask permission of the ones whose lives you seek. Abide by the answer. Never take the first, never take the last. Harvest in a way that minimizes harm. Take only what you need and leave some for others. Use everything you take. Take only that which is given to you. Share it as the earth has shared with you. Be grateful. Reciprocate the gift. Sustain the ones who sustain you, and the earth will last forever. How can we reciprocate the gifts of the earth? In gratitude and ceremony, through acts of practical reverence and land stewardship. In fierce defense of the places we love, in art, in science, in song, in gardens, in children, in ballots, in stories of renewal, in creative resistance, in how we spend our money and our precious lives by refusing to be complicit with the forces of ecological destruction. Whatever our gift, we are called to give it and dance for the renewal of the world.
And now join with me. We release that which was called with love and gratitude, and we extinguish the flame, but not our commitment to being a beacon in the desert. This burns brightly until we gather again. We have room for 3 announcements to be read at upcoming services. If you want your announcement read, please email Irma by Thursday and she will get it to the worship associate. Please include the name of the event, the date and time, a contact name, and no more than a 30-word description. These are 3 announcements from Friday's Flash. If you'd like to support the families in the Foster Kinship Annual Christmas Gift Program, please see Rory. We still have the book fair happening today, and it's last chance. It'll be out in the social hall. I will be over there today. Buy some books. Some of the proceeds go back to our church. And there's another session of the Circle of Trees Religious Education this Saturday at Bob Baskin Park, and you can ask Nina if you have any questions. In addition to the few we have highlighted, there are many more announcements and events this week and in the coming weeks. To see them, head over to our webpage using the QR code on the screen or visit uuclv.org. Thank you for being with us today, and join us next Sunday for another moving service by Nina and Margaret.